Hey YouTube, and thank you for watching Junkworks DIY Garage. Can you guess what this video is about? Well, we got several gloves here, and I was kind of going through my stash of gloves, kind of cleaning up the place, and I thought I would do a little bit of review on some of these gloves. Admittedly, well, really it's about half and half Harbor Freight and other companies. But regards, I will go through and tell you my opinion on different gloves. First of all, part of the reason I'm doing this video is because there's a pair of gloves we didn't pay a lot for. Honestly, I don't know how much they were. These ones right here, I was not very satisfied with, to be honest. We actually got these off Amazon. If I can get my wife to give me a number, I will put the price below. And it's not really totally the glove's fault, I would say. My biggest problem is I just don't find them all that comfortable. They got lots of protecting and that kind of stuff. They're supposed to have Thinsulate, which I have worn them in the cold, and they seem to be okay that way. As far as weatherproof, I don't know. They seem to be keeping me dry, but I don't think it's going to last very long. And the last thing is I can't, they're very hard to use. Unless you're going to be shoveling snow or something with them, they're really kind of worthless. I tried like pulling on a cable when I was putting together my lift, and I also could feel the cable through here. Like, it wasn't protective. So it looks like it'd be very protective, but it just isn't very protective. They'd be great for shoveling snow, something like that. But quite honestly, rather than going and buying those, I would go buy another set of these. And this is why I had my wife pick those up. They were on like Amazon deal. They had 2 pairs. I needed another pair of Thinsulate gloves that I can move or do stuff in. And these ones right here are Harbor Freight, but I can move around in them. Yeah, these ones are wore to death, but I haven't put any holes in them. You can see where the black stuff here is wore off of this pretty bad on the palm, but there's still some there. The only downside is these is they get wet. Your hands will get wet in them, but honestly they get wet, but your hands, as long as you keep working in them, don't really get cold. And I think if I was to spray these with some waterproofing stuff, that might help. But I'm going to go pick up another pair of these because I can use these. I mean, you're not going to be twisting any nuts or bolts or anything like that, but I can do more stuff with my hands with these. They just work. They actually function a little bit better. They're not quite as stiff as these ones right here. And these do seem to actually, the way they have the palm and stuff, they feel like they protect your hands a little bit better to me. I don't know. I've been using these for a few years now, and I needed another pair. They finally pretty much wore out. And I only use them in the winter. I pretty much keep them on my truck. I use them for shoveling snow, for driving my tractor when it's cold, that kind of stuff. But I've been very happy with these. Then we got these right here. These are all actual mechanics gloves. And I will say, I've had these for years. I mean, Jeff Gordon, I mean, he isn't even driving anymore. So I've had these for a long time. They were on sale at Napa, and I bought like a ton of them. And I still have 3 pairs left, and I have not wore any holes into the fingers of these. So these really do hold up really well. But quite honestly, I pretty much not really retired these, but I use them for real greasy, dirty stuff mostly, because they do work well for mechanic stuff. Which then actually I have a whole nother pair that I forgot to grab. I'll go grab those. Those right there. So these, I do believe, are close to par with mechanics gloves. In fact, some things are easier to do with these, as far as I do have a little bit more feeling through these than I do the mechanics gloves. I think they're just because they're cheaper, they're thinner. But I have worn a ton of these out, but quite honestly, I give them to my kids and they work outside, and they get lost, and then they get stepped on, they get left outside. So a lot of them have been over abused and used. But I've had these ones for quite a while. I keep them over here for mostly like metal work and that kind of stuff, and they seem to do pretty good. I really like these for the price. They got a little hole in them there, probably from some welding slag or something. I usually don't weld with these though, because the welding spatter goes into these. Same with the mechanics gloves as well. But I would say they're just about as good as mechanics gloves. Maybe not, obviously not quite the quality. Little side note here, I forgot about these right here, which are actually, I think, a newer version of this. I don't even know if you can get the blue ones. But I'd say, all in all, they're pretty close to the same. I think I actually did a video on these in the comparison between these, so go check those out. There's good and bad about both. But anyhow, I've been fairly happy with these. There's a hole in this one here, but I probably used it more, so who knows. Anyhow, I think these are the ones you can get at Harbor Freight now, and these things are always on sale. You can always find them on some sort of sale. So, which then brings us to these right here, and these are actually Harbor Freight, the Hardy. They're the Impact ones, Professional Series. I like these when I'm doing like tires, pulling tires on and off, using the impact wrench for stuff. Really need to grab a hold of something and reef on it, and I'm afraid I'm going to wrap my knuckles because it has this plastic stuff here that really protects well. These really protect well, but then again, you don't have the mobility with these as you do with these or these. Which then I went ahead and bought these. I would highly recommend these. These are pretty good for, and like if you were going to ride motorcycles, that kind of stuff, these would work really good for those. And then I bought these because they were more, I think they actually are like a leather of some sort. But quite honestly, I put these on and I always feel like they're just not going to last very long. They're very, very thin. But yet again, you have pretty good feeling through these. These would make like good driving gloves. I'm going to put on my left one because my right hand is still not functioning correctly. But anyway, these are really tight to the fingers here, and they stretch with the hands really well. These would make good driving gloves, which is probably what I'll use them for if I ever get my car to the track at any time. I might buy another set of these for that. But I really, honestly, I throw those in my truck, and I haven't used them a ton just because they don't feel like they're going to hold up like these ones will. So I've just kind of not used them a lot, but they are more expensive as well, so I probably wouldn't buy these unless you want driving gloves for some reason or something like that. Which then, this is what I'd pick up. If you want leather, go pick up a set of these. I've used these. There's holes in them. I pick these up every time I get a hole in the finger. I got 2 or 3 pairs of them. They last a long time. You're not going to be doing a lot of mechanic work, but everything else these work great for. They tend to stretch into your hand. They're pretty good padding. Welding, I use these a lot for welding, picking up metal, that kind of thing, to keep your hands from getting sliced. So before I picked up these, I would pick up a set of these. I don't know where. I think I got these at just like a, I don't know, home store somewhere. Which then you got last and least, these right here. These are your everyday garbage man gloves, that's what I use these for. I have these on my truck under the seat specifically for when I go and do garbage, dump my garbage trailer out. So that's about all I use these for. They're cheap. You can get a huge package of these. I'm sure I have some somewhere and I don't know where they ended up. But you can get a pretty big package of those at Harbor Freight for pretty cheap. And you can buy this type anywhere for fairly cheap, but they're not comfortable to work in all day. Some people like them, some people don't. I find that they always end up giving me blisters if I use them for actual working all day kind of things. Well, there you go. Now you know. Little video there, just basically because it was something to do, because I was kind of going through all my gloves trying to find some stuff, and I thought, I'm gonna do a little video on this and give people an idea on gloves. Really happy with most every one of them. Not so happy with these ones here, honestly. And that just could be they just don't fit my hands very well. Alright, thanks for watching Junkworks DIY Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and master none. You all have a good one.